going on, Falcon fan? It's your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video, a Friday edition of the Ricondo Real Falcon Fan podcast. We're in week 9. The Atlanta Falcons are back at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium playing the Dallas Cowboys, a team that's in desperate need of a win, where their quarterback, Dak Prescott, say this feels like a must win for their team. So we know they're coming in hungry, ready to try to get everything going. And the Atlanta Falcons cannot have the same kind of output they had last time in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium against a team that had lost 3 in a row in the Seattle Seahawks, who came back in and kind of got back on track. So we do not want to repeat of that. A team that the Atlanta Falcons should, are right now playing, better than this team. So you would like the Atlanta Falcons come out and have a strong performance, try to get another win at home. Atlanta Falcons are actually undefeated on the road, but for some reason they're not able to get wins at home, and that's where we need to be able to rectify that. So moving forward, see if the Atlanta Falcons do that. Today it's going to be a little different show than I usually do. I usually go out and I do my keys to victory. I'm not going to do that today. Because I'll explain why when we get into it, but this game just feels a little different to me, so I want to talk about it different when we talk about these Dallas Cowboys. Everybody's always talking about Dallas Cowboys. Everybody know that they're so-called America's team, got such a large fan base. I'm pretty sure a lot of fans will be at the game on Sunday. So look forward to seeing those guys there. Hopefully we can send those guys home sad, like we've done a lot of other teams, especially in our division at home this year. So guys, with that being said, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit the notification bell so you can drop another video. Please hit the like button, so I know you guys out here hear what I talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in here. We talk about, that's right, these Atlanta Falcons. So guys, the first thing we're going to talk about today is the injury report, which I think really going to affect this game, the way you look at it. Now, last week we talked about injuries to, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' 2 top receivers. However, those guys came out and they did sort of what we thought they was going to do. They was going to come out. They was going to try to, try to be dominant in the run game, where they actually ran like almost 60 yards in the first half of the game. Now the Atlanta Falcons did make adjustments and calmed it down, but for the most part, they did. We thought they got the most reliable weapon in Kate Otten, involved in the game early. So you got to know your opponent, know what their strengths are, and try to take away things that you think they're gonna be able to do. I know from the outside looking in as fans, we always think we can quarterback from the sidelines and things like that. So we don't know the actual game plan. We don't know if the players, executing what's been called. But from when we're looking at it, it just seems like they're not doing what we think they should be doing. And that's where, the frustration from a fan come in. Like, man, everybody knew they was going to come out and run the ball last week. But so what the hell happened? Why we couldn't stop that? And because that's the only thing they had. It was out there 2 top receivers. And the receivers didn't get no touches in that first half. Even their head coach wanted to get the receivers involved. So it just didn't make any sense about the game plan. So sorry for getting on attention on that, but let's get back to the injury report. So first we're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys injury report. And I think the biggest headline for this team right now, we know about their defensive side of the ball. Micah Parsons has been out for weeks. He's already been listed out for this week as well. Mike McCarthy said that he's getting better, but he's not ready to practice yet with a high ankle sprain. So, fortunately, unfortunately, however you want to look at it, depending on what side you're looking at it, you can pretty much say that Atlanta Falcons took a break for not having Micah Parsons there. I know Zach Robinson mentioned today if Micah Parsons was going, the game plan, they would have to think about it and change it up a little bit because Micah Parsons was going to be there, and we all know he's a record the way he rushes the passer and things like that. But sometimes you just run it right at him, and you can stop him. You can try to neutralize him that way. But unfortunately, Micah Parsons is not going to be there. Deron Bland is another guy who had 6 pick sixes last year. has not been there with the team all season. He's still out. He was reactivated, came back off IR. He had to do his 21 days coming back from IR. So they had to activate him to the team, because not they had to put him back on IR for the rest of the season. So when you're looking at that, Deron Bland is going to be listed out. The All-Pro corner and Trayvon Diggs is listed as questionable. Like he's still going to try to go, so he's listed as questionable. So we'll just have to see if he's going to go. We already knew about DeMarcus Lawrence, a guy who was already in the reserve. So basically, what I'm saying, guys, that from a defensive standpoint, Dallas Cowboys has been compromised pretty much the whole season. They looked a whole lot better coming off the bye against San Francisco 49ers. Looking like they was more aggressive, coming after Brock Purdy, trying to put pressure on him and things like that. But in the end, some of the things that we have seen all season start to rear its head for them, and it really boils down to the personnel not being able to stop the run and things like that. So that's where the Atlanta Falcons need to be looking at, trying to take advantage of this Dallas Cowboys defense, where they're already missing pieces to the team, and then they're having issues trying to do things that they need to do to play good football. So that's where we're going to talk about from the Dallas Cowboys, from their injury standpoint. For the Atlanta Falcons, the injury report is a little bit better. Troy Anderson it was limited practice today, so hopefully he gets back. He's listed as questionable, so we'll have to see if he's going to be able to go on Sunday as well. He practiced all week. Mostly it was limited practice. Chris Lindstrom is also listed as questionable. He went out in the game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He did say he was going to be fine. He was limited practice today, but he was a full participant yesterday. So we'll just have to see. But those are the two guys we're to think about now. Our All-Pro right guard and Chris Lindstrom listed as questionable, and hopefully we can get Troy Anderson back, also listed as questionable. So that's just where we're at. Unfortunately, Rook Roro, our second round pick from this season, was placed on the IR, and they activated Rashaan Evans off the practice squad. So he's on the 53-man roster now. A guy who's been in the league a while, a guy that more to coming downhill, making plays downhill as a linebacker. So we'll have to see how much Rashaan Evans gets used in this game. But right now, looking at the linebacker core, we got to get healthy there. JD Bertrand is another guy that is going to be listed out. I think he went out with concussion, so he already been listed out as well. So those are guys that we know definitely out: Rook Roro and JD Bertrand. And questionable will be linebacker Troy Anderson and Chris Lindstrom. Justin Simmons is not on listed as specified as questionable or anything, so like he's going to be a full go. He's back. He sat out last week at that safety position, so he will be back. So that's where we're at with our injury report from the Dallas Cowboys and the Atlanta Falcons. And this whole season in itself has really been, marred about injuries, not just for, the Cowboys, but you look at teams like the San Francisco 49ers, look at teams like the Los Angeles Rams, teams that a lot of people thought was going to be in contention to have opportunity, to compete, and get into the playoffs. Some of these teams are really hurting from their injuries. You look at a team like the Houston Texans yesterday, you could tell that CJ Stroud was really missing Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs, both of those guys out. Look like he's going to get Nico Collins back here sometime this year, but Stephon Diggs is going to be out for the remainder of the season. So just injuries, guys. That's why depth is really important in NFL. People kind of overlook the depth. You look at on paper, look at your starting lineup. You look at the 22 guys, but we know NFL is 100% injury. And at some point in time, somebody's going to get nicked up. They might have to miss a game. So somebody that's back up to those guys is going to have to come in, and you don't want, a drop off. So that's why your depth is important. So that's why this, looking across the league in general, when we're talking about these injuries, I think they have took a real toll on a lot of the a lot of teams that some people could say contenders. You look at the Detroit Lions with Adrian Hutchinson going out. That's why a lot of teams are also is really active in the trade market, which is due on voting day, November 5th here. So we're definitely going to see how it turns out. If anybody make any moves to get pass rushers. We already seen some trades already done. We saw Deontay Johnson get traded to the Baltimore Ravens. We saw Devontae Adams get traded to the New York Jets, right? We saw DeAndre Hopkins get traded to the Kansas City Chiefs. So you see teams are making moves. We saw Josh Uche get traded to the Kansas City Chiefs. So we've seen moves already been made more than normal, because a lot of times in NFL you don't see a lot of trades, right? Because NFL players trying to learn a whole new system in the middle of the season is kind of tough, probably depending on your position you play. But some of these offenses and defenses are so similar, just different terminology. And some of these guys are getting in, you build packages for them. Like we saw DeAndre Hopkins, that didn't have a lot of snaps. He had got there on Wednesday, then trying to play on that Sunday. He only had 2 catches for 29 yards, but I guarantee you this week he had a lot of more, plays and packages going to be designed for him to start get him going, with Patrick Mahomes. So guys, that's enough about injury report. I just wanted to go across the league and saying that injuries is a big deal. Fortunately for us, for Falcon fans, it has not hurt us too much. Losing Braden Trice early in the season, that really hurt us. We thought we had rectified that with Matthew Judon, but at the end of the day, I guess not. So we're going to get into that today as well. All right, so guys, let's look at some of these comments here. We got the Cowboy fan in the chat. He said upset happening. It's any given Sunday. So any given Sunday, a team can beat another team. So to say upset happening is just it's not like we're playing a college team or a high school team or something like that. It's an NFL team. So offense game between them this week. He said offensive game between them this week. We'll see. We're missing other depth players beside those you mentioned, which is key. I don't care about the other depth players. I just care about those key guys, because those guys I'm really going to be concerned about. Trice says, hello, what's going on? What's up? Asking something? What you want me to ask? Just let me know. What's going on, Michael? Yeah. All right, guys. So let's get into what I really want to talk about today. And it's the Falcons game plan this week. So, like I said, I usually do offense, defense, special teams. This week, it's going to be simple, man. It's the Falcons game plan. And let's just be honest. This game plan should be simple for the Atlanta Falcons, right? And I'm just going to tell you why I think it should be simple. And we'll just tell you why I think it should be simple, right? So, we love Raheem Morris. He always says stats are for losers, right? Which I get it, right? If you're winning games, people can go look at the numbers and say, well, this is this, this, and this, and this, and this, right? But in reality, if you're looking at, the stats for the season for the Dallas Cowboys, right? And we're in week 9. So the Dallas Cowboys have played 7 games. Their record right now is 3-4. They played 7 games. They already had their bye week. So after 7 games, what we know about the Dallas Cowboys is that they're tied with the Carolina Panthers at last at giving up 154.6 yards a game in rushing. They're tied last. So we already know that about them, right? And then to capture that they're missing some of their key guys on the defense already, right? It should be a no-brainer what the Atlanta Falcons offensive game plan should be, right? It should be really, really simple. It's to run the ball, right? You're taking a team that's from a 7-week span, looking at a team now who have lost pieces on their defense that's giving up 154.6 yards a game on the ground, right? And you want to use that. You got one of the best running attacks in the game with two dynamic running backs and Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson, which one of the best run offensive lines in the league. You need to take advantage of that. So, like I said, they need to do keys this week because you're looking at this team. If you're looking at the numbers, and yes, stats are for losers, but if Raheem Morris is smart, him and Zach Robinson, they're going to be smart. Everything should be predicated off the run game for the Atlanta Falcons this week. You're not going to go out and just pull a Bill Belichick and just pass the ball twice. And because we've seen that, right, a couple of years ago against the Buffalo Bills, I think he passed the ball twice. He ran the ball the whole game. We're not going to see anything like that from the Atlanta Falcons, but you're looking at a team that's already compromised, in their front seven, and they're giving up 154 yards a game, and you got one of the best running attacks in the game. Just run the ball, man. It's just that simple. Run the ball. It should not be any secret to this. Now they should understand that's what's going to happen, but I'm sure the 7 games that the Dallas Cowboys have played, they knew teams was going to try to run on them, and they couldn't stop it. So don't get cute. Don't try to overthink this thing. The Atlanta Falcons need to come out and run the ball, right? So that should be the game plan on offense. And then you play action off the run in the passing game. It's that simple. If the Atlanta Falcons try to deviate from something like that, and like I said, I'm not a coach. I'm sitting on the sideline being a fan. That's what I am, right? And I do a podcast here, but I'm telling you guys, that should be the game plan. They need to come out and run the ball. Team that's tied for last in rushing yards a game, and we got one of the best running attacks in the game with two dynamic running backs, 2 guys over 220 pounds who get downhill. And if we don't take advantage of that, we're asking ourselves to be put in places where we don't want to be as a team, right? It's just that simple. That's why they need you keys, because looking at Dallas Cowboys, and I watch a lot of Dallas Cowboys games, and I have not seen one game where the Dallas Cowboys has been able to stop guys from running the ball, right? Maybe the Giants, but I if you go back and look how many yards they gave against the Giants, I still think the Giants were successful pretty much in that game as well. So it's simple to me, guys. It's really simple for me to know that that's all you got to do to this team, right? They also is 31st. 31st. It's only 32 teams in the league. They 31st and giving up 28.3 points a game. So their scoring defense is bad as well. It's a 7-game sample, right? This is not halfway through the season, but it's close to it. And they're giving up 28.3 games, 28.3 points a game, right? Guys, this should be simple for the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons have scored over 30 throughout the last 4 games. Scored over 30 throughout the 4 last games, right? So this should be an easy game for Atlanta Falcons from an offensive standpoint. We're getting to defense in just a minute. But from an offensive standpoint, the Atlanta Falcons should be able to run the ball, take it off play action with Kirk Cousins, who's one of the best play action quarterbacks in the league, and they should be able to put points on the board. And when you do that, you run the ball, you keep the Dallas Cowboys offense off the field. You control the clock. So this is an easy game plan on offense, man. I'm telling you, I don't need to do keys. I don't need to do keys this week. It's a really easy, a real easy game plan, right? Real easy game plan, right? With all that being said, Dallas Cowboys is desperate. Dak Prescott said this is a must win for his team. They're an NFL team, and they're not going to just let you do it. You got to impose your will. That's what I'm talking about. They're not going to just let you run the ball on them. They know that what you want to do. So they're going to come out and they're going to have heart. They're going to have, fight in them and things like that. But you do what you do and you pose your will on this team. Because the facts are, like how Shannon say, they don't have enough bricks in their pocket, man. And we need to dominate in the run game. It's just that simple. So on the offensive side of the ball, guys, that should be the Atlanta Falcon game plan. It should not be a secret. We can tell you that we're going to do it, right? We don't have to come out and try to trick you. We want to run the ball on you. Can you stop us from running the ball on you? That's really how they should just come out and say it. We want to run the ball on you, Cowboys. Can you stop it? That's and if they can, they should win this game. If the Cowboys can stop the Atlanta Falcons from running the rock, they should win this game. It's just that simple. And then we can be like, that 154.6 yards you're giving up a game, you're starting to turn it around because you was able to stop one of the best running attacks in the league. That's just the way I look at it. It's just not rocket science. This week, that's what the Atlanta Falcons should be able to do. Hundo, you will grow your Billy Goat tee back after Sunday's game. Okay. Hey, it's any given Sunday, man. So the Cowboys could definitely win this game. I'm not saying there's no way that the Cowboys can't win this game. I'm telling you, if the Falcons do what they're supposed to do, Cowboys won't win this game. That's what I'm telling you. Son, this game is going to be easy. Dak is going to light up because Atlanta can't bring pressure to the good. We're going to get into the defense just a minute. That's what we're going to do. We're definitely going to get into the defense in just a minute. All right. So guys, just that simple. I laid it out. Offensive game plan, Zach Robinson. If you want me to go in and talk to the team, to the offensive line, to those receivers that's going to be blocking, to Bijan and Tyler, be like, you tell Mike Zimmer before the game, we run the ball, bro. Be ready. That's what you say. We run the ball, bro. Be ready. And if he can stop it, if your boys can stop it, you win the game. But no secret here. We run the rock on you. So that's how it should be. Right? All right, let's talk about the defense, right? Let's talk about our Atlanta Falcons defense. So when we talk about Atlanta Falcons defense, and Ada just talked about Dak, right? They're great passing team, right? But guess why they're such a great passing team? Because that's all they can do. That's all they can do. They dead last in rushing yards per game at 54.6 yards a game. That's where they're at. So because they can't run the ball. That's why they pass so much, because they can't run. They can't run. So simple. Atlanta Falcons, right now, you have had leaky run defense. You have had leaky. That's what you want to call it, leaky. I just say poor ass run defense this season. That's what you have had, Atlanta Falcons. So they got Dalvin Cook. They got guys that's been all pros, on their team. So they got guys with names running the ball. They got Dalvin Cook, right? They got Ezekiel Elliott. They got Dawo, right? They got whatever his name, Rico Dallo. I don't know his name right off the bat, but they got all three guys. I don't know if he's going to play this week, but they got guys that can run the rock. However, they have not been successful running the ball all season, right? Let's not be that team that they get good on, man. Let's not be that team. So, yes, Dak Prescott's going to have to throw the ball around. That's what needs to happen. Dak Prescott is going to have to throw the ball around. But it's simple. It's simple what the Atlanta Falcons need to do. It's so simple, man. Like this week, this game plan, out of all the teams that we scheme for, and get ready for and prepare for, Dallas Cowboys are they're one of the most predictable teams in the NFL. They really are. Right? Go back and look at that 49ers game. Go look how many yards CeeDee Lamb had. Look how many targets he had. So all the Atlanta Falcons got to do continue to not let Dallas be successful in the run game, and they don't let CeeDee Lamb catch the ball. That's all they got to do. This is one of the easiest playing games to prepare for. If Tariq Woolen or Tolbert beat you, okay, that's fine. If Tariq Woolen, Tolbert, Ferguson, if they beat you, you should be able to live with that as Atlanta Falcon team, because your game plan should be, we're not going to let CeeDee Lamb beat us, and we're not going to let you get your running game going. And we're going to make Dak use progressions and find his other guys. That's what you got to do. This is like the easiest game plan in the world for the Atlanta Falcons, because it's predictable. The successful games that Dak has had, CeeDee Lamb eats a lot. It's that simple. Go back and look at his numbers. CeeDee Lamb, probably one of the most targeted players in the league. He has, lots of receiving yards. He is their guy. That's where Dak want to go with the ball. You stop that. Don't let them get their running game going. And if Tariq Woolen, if it's Tolbert, my bad, I keep saying Tariq Woolen. It's Tolbert, that's his name, Tolbert. If Tolbert can beat you, if all those guys, if they can beat you, man, if those guys can beat you, let them beat you. Ferguson, all those guys, but don't let CeeDee Lamb beat you. It's that simple, man. This is like one of the easiest game plans in the world for me to watch. And honestly, I'm trying to figure out how the Dallas Cowboys won 12 games. How they won 12 games 3 years in a row, because they so predictable. This is one of the most predictable teams in the league, man. They really are. And their red zone offense is one of the worst red zone offenses in the league. So this is simple. I didn't need to do a 3 keys for defense, because the keys are simple. Don't let them get their running game going, and you do not let CeeDee Lamb eat. If you do that, you're going to win this game, guys. Dak Prescott don't know how to function without that. That's what he does best. He get the ball to Zeke. His numbers. Everybody talk about the comeback he had against San Francisco. First of all, San Francisco had like a 2-score lead. I feel like they let up a little bit, but then like they just let CeeDee Lamb catch all the passes towards the end of the game. And like if you let CeeDee Lamb run those crossing routes, he's going to go across from you, right? No, come on, man. Like this is easy. When I looking at this game now, start of the season, you had Michael Parsons, you had DeMarcus Lawrence, they had a full complement of players on their squad, and you be like, all right, that's going to be a pretty good game looking at the schedule. But man, I'm telling you, this should be an easy win for the Falcons. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy win, because it's a professional NFL football team that's, trying to win. They don't lost their last 2 games, even coming off a bye, they lost. So they're really desperate. They're a desperate team coming in to our Atlanta Falcons team that, lost their last game at home to a similar opponent that was reeling like these Cowboys are, and they didn't come out to play. So it could happen. So I'm not sitting here telling you guys that the Atlanta Falcons, is definitely going to win this game, but they should win this game. They should win this game, and it's so easy. I mean, unless the Dallas Cowboys change what they've been doing for the last 7 weeks, these last 7 games that they played, Atlanta Falcons formula to beat this team is so easy. It just is, and I wouldn't overthink it. I'll just come out like, we're just gonna run the ball. Like for instance, this is a perfect Arthur Smith game here, because Arthur Smith would just come out and run the ball. I just tell you, like, we talk about Arthur Smith, but we know what Arthur Smith would do, right? This is one of his games where he just come out and run the ball. But you cannot let CeeDee Lamb beat you. I mean, all those other guys, I'm not saying the other guys are scrub, but go back and look how many receptions they got. They don't have as many receptions as CeeDee Lamb. So you're going to make those guys beat you. That's what you do. That's what teams do. You know, everybody talk about how genius Bill Belichick was, but he just simplified the game. He like, I'm just going to take away their best player. Their best player is not going to beat us today. Nick Saban, your best player is not going to beat us today. Right? That's what you do. Like, it's simple, man. It's simple. And that's all the Atlanta Falcons need to do. Take CeeDee Lamb out of the game. Don't let them get their running game going and put all the pressure on Dak Prescott. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. Right? So that should be the Falcons game plan, guys. Offense, run the heck out the ball, do play action, control the time possession, put points on the board. Defense, don't let them get their running game going. Take CeeDee Lamb out the game and put all the pressure on Dak Prescott to make plays to his other weapons. It's that simple. It's that simple. I don't really have to go into details. And Eddie knows I'm right. He knows I'm right. He knows I'm right. Right? He's saying that Dak gonna do this, Dak gonna do all that. But if they do that, if they do what I just talked about, there's no way the Cowboys win this game. He said no running backs do it, and the O-line can't run block. He got it. They won 12 games with pressure. Yeah, I'm just being honest with you, man. I mean, it's just the Cowboys really need to. They need to, and it's going to be hard for the Cowboys to do it, right? Because they got to pay Micah Parsons, so they're going to have to build their team to the draft, right? Unfortunately, they paid Dak $60 million. They paid CeeDee Lamb his 30-something million. They gotta play Michael Parsons, right? You still got Trayvon Diggs there. But the draft is gonna be really huge for the Dallas Cowboys these next couple of seasons, right? You know, one thing that is called, you can always count on Dallas Cowboys that really had was a great offensive line where, you know, you just create out of big holes for their running backs, right? But their offensive line is getting old, man. Zach Martin is getting old, right? You can see it, right? They had to move some guys from guard to playing tackle and things like that. So they had to revamp their offensive line. So the Dallas Cowboys got a lot of soul searching to think about, and it's going to have to be through the draft. Jerry Jones, you know, he brags about, you know, the guys he bring into the team. So he's really going to have to do that hard these next couple of seasons to build back up this team, right? They might be able to spend a couple of dollars in free agency, but for the most part, you know, with having CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, Trayvon Diggs, and now Micah Parsons coming up here soon, that's going to be a healthy price tag for the Dallas Cowboys, which means their young guys and their depth is going to have to be taken, you know, it's really serious to build his team out the way they need to build it. See Eddie mentioned Overshown. He is bright. He's able to move sideline to sideline. Maybe need to put on a little bit more weight. But you know, the Run Bland comeback, you know, the spectacular season he had last year. See, can he, you know, duplicate something like that, having a guy like that in your secondary? But, you know, the Dallas Cowboys going to really have to start thinking about some things because this team has a lot of issues where they're talented, but, you know, they're not where they need to be yet. And, you know, with the price tag that's going to be start rising here because they got to pay Micah, it's going to be tough. It's really going to be tough for the Dallas Cowboys. All right, so guys, that's my game plan. I'm just do like this. That's all you got to do, Falcon. If anybody want to send this video to Raheem Morris, Zach Robinson, Jimmy Lake, and Jesse Bates, Grady Jarrett, Kirk Cousins, B. John, Tyler. Y'all want to send it to him, man. Just let them know. That's all you got to do. I ain't no coach, but I watch a lot of football, play football, and that's all you got to do. And respect your opponent because they coming out to try to try to get this game. They're gonna try to come out and get this win. So don't sleep on them. Don't think they sorry anything like that. But you got to come out and play these boys. So that's what you got to do. All right, the last thing I want to talk about today, guys, is which is to in my opinion, this is a real good question, right? And I think it just need to be discussed just a little bit. And the question is, are the Falcons true contenders, right? The Atlanta Falcons are head of their division right now. They pretty much got a tiebreak against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because they beat them twice already. The other two teams in the division, we know that, well, the Carolina Panthers is pretty much out of it, unless they have a miraculous, next 9 games of the season and do something spectacular here. The New Orleans injuries have been hit by injury bugs. Another team that got hit by the injury bug really bad. Those guys been reeling as well. Don't know Derek Carr's status. Is he's going to be back? Know that oblique injury that he had. So we'll see about that. But pretty much it's a 2-horse race in the division between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons. All right. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers got to go to Kansas City Monday Night Football, which is going to be a huge game. That's why this game for the Atlanta Falcons this weekend is so huge, because if we can get this win and then Tampa Bay, it's going to be tough for them to beat Kansas City in Kansas City on Monday Night Football, with their injury situation as well. We can actually take a real good hold on this division with this win this weekend against the Cowboys. So, but I mean, looking at the Atlanta Falcons as a whole, right? And Eddie mentioned something about the pressures on Dak, right? He mentioned the pressures on Dak about not being able to get pressure on Dak Prescott, and that is 100% could be a factor in this game, right? Because of not getting pressures, right? So it was a thing out there last night. The New York Jets had 8 sacks last night on Thursday Night Football against CJ Stroud. 8 sacks in one game. The Atlanta Falcons got 6 sacks on the season. And the question, when you start thinking about that, having such a terrible, terrible pass rush, and it's not overstating when I say terrible, because when you play 8 games already, and through 8 games you only sacked the quarterback 6 times. That's terrible, man. That's terrible. You got guys in this league already got 6 sacks, right? It's bad. The New York Giants got 35 sacks on the season, right? The Atlanta Falcons got 6 sacks, and that's not good. It's not really good for any team. So I question this contenders thing, because you listen to the coach, and he acknowledges that it's not good. It's not where it needs to be. He acknowledged that. He's not sugarcoating it. He's not hiding from it. Not making any excuses. Jimmy Lake as well. Yesterday, even though the week before he said he wasn't going to panic, but he felt like they took a step back. So, I mean, the pass rush is pathetic, man. It's no other way around it. It's no other way around it. I mean, guys are not winning their one-on-one battles. I came out here last week and I talked about the scheme a little bit, and I still believe the scheme does have some effect. I think the scheme had more effect to me in the run game from a defensive standpoint, but from a pass rush perspective, I don't think the schemes matter. I think it's the guys just not making plays, man. I mean, Armor Ebiketie, he literally reminds me of Vic Beasley, right? He has all the speed and he beats his man off the ball, but he always get there a second late and the quarterback already thrown the ball out. Matt Judon, he get double teams. That bull rush is really effective, but it's not enough. It's just not enough, man. It's so right now, the Atlanta Falcons, they have to do something. Now, Jimmy Lake mentioned that they are changing some things around. We're going to see what kind of changes they made. this week and see if it turns things around. A lot of people saying once the floodgate opens, it start open. We'll see, but at this point, I don't see nothing in sight. So that is a concern. That definitely a concern. And Dak Prescott could have a great day against this pass rush because it's pathetic, man. It's not pathetic. So when you talk about contenders, when you got 6 sacks on this, yes, you're winning. And like I said, go back to Raheem said, stats are for losers, right? If we had 2 sacks on the season and we was 8-0, I guess nobody would really care about not having sacks. But I think, it's going to start to rear its head here in a minute. And I just really believe that the longer the Falcons not able to produce pass rush, the longer you get into the season, and when you get into those big important games, it's going to be bad for you. So they have to fix this. Yes, the Atlanta Falcons could go out and make another trade, and bring somebody else in to put them on the opposite side of Matthew Judon, and hopefully, he won't get double teams. Now that's a factor. And Jimmy Lake mentioned this, and I agree with him 100%. Somebody probably get double team on each defensive snap. But that means the other 4 guys have one-on-one. You have to win your one-on-ones, man. And that's not happening. That's not happening. I know these guys are prideful guys and stuff like that, but they're not winning their one-on-ones. They're not getting the quarterback on the ground. And even the simulated pressures that he's bringing is not getting home. So this is a big deal. And for me, when I'm thinking about contenders, to go deep, yes, I still think I can't. Do I think the Atlanta Falcons can win a division? Yes, I think the Atlanta Falcons can win the division and host a playoff game. But to be considered true contenders, you got to be able to show that you can play some solid defense. Offense is good. It's humming right now. You're starting to see Kurt, get more chemistry with his players, his offensive players, run game, and things like that, and all those things. You start to see that. But when you starting to see the defense just reeling, and man, let's just be honest with you. If it wasn't for great plays from Jesse Bates, AJ Terrell, making plays, big plays, and they make huge plays in games, man. They really have to seal some wins for us, and get the Atlanta Falcons in the win column. But why do we have to have the miraculous plays just from those guys? I mean, it's not enough. And maybe personnel is not on the team right now. And so this right here goes back to the Atlanta Falcons drafting Michael Penix. We can keep harping back to this, right? Because I think 95 to 90% of everybody draft boards had Atlanta Falcons taking the pass rusher at number 8, right? Now we know Brian Baldinger. He came out and I saw the video. He had him taking Michael Penix. I don't know how he knew that. Maybe he had some kind of inside scoop. But I know most people had the Atlanta Falcons taking a pass rusher. Now, if you go back and look at the young pass rusher that was drafted, most of those guys have not been, dominant throughout this season. So it's not like guys like you look at a guy like Jared Verse. The way he looked the other night on Thursday Night Football was impressive, right? And I was like, wow, we could have had a guy like that, at number 8, Jared Verse. He was a guy that was considered Latu. I don't know how well he's doing in Indianapolis. Of course, the Alabama guy out of Minnesota. Those guys not putting up great numbers. It's not spectacular what they're doing. So it doesn't look like it really hurt the Atlanta Falcons. But when you look at this pass rush, it seemed like it's just been a miss there. And then to top it off, Kirk Cousins is playing so well. When will Michael Penix see the field, man? That's another question. We know Kirk Cousins' contract is, basically 2-year contract. So, they can easily move away from him if they want to in that third season. But man, you go back to the draft where my reaction is kind of valid right now, looking at the way this pass rush is. It's terrible, man. It's just terrible. Um, Now it was reported that the Atlanta Falcons did try to come back in the first round and grab a pass rusher after they drafted Michael Penix, but they was not able to do that. But to me, the pass rush thing is going to be their Achilles heels, man. I just think you play great quarterbacks in this league, and if you can't get them off their spot, and they have time to survey the field, to get out the pocket and make plays and things like that, eventually it's going to hurt you. I just believe eventually it's going to hurt you. Yes, you're going to get your great plays from guys like Jesse Bates because that's what he do. AJ is starting to come on. Second interception this season. He's starting to look a whole lot better. But if they can't fix this, it's going to be their downfall. I really believe it's going to be their downfall. I know we tired of talking about it, but it's kind of amazing. A team that had 42 sacks last year. And I don't even know if the Falcons going to make it to their worst season they had the last couple of years, where they had 18 sacks. They had 18 sacks, 3 years ago, and that was like one of their worst seasons. Will we even get 18 sacks this season? That's the question right now, because it doesn't seem like we got a guy that can get the job done, right? And it's about one-on-ones. I mean, coaching is can take you so far, but players got to make plays. They're on the field, and they got to make plays, man. You can only call a play. I'm giving you one-on-one against this guy. Beat your man. Get to the quarterback. Get him on the ground. Right? That's football 101. Right? If you're getting double team, hey, that means your teammates are not. So one of them need to get home. So it's not happening. That's my question about contenders right now. Until they fix that, we're gonna have questions. Yes, stats are for loser. We're gonna enjoy these wins as long as they happen. But at the end of the day, man, the Atlanta Falcons need to figure out something. It's just unsat, man. 6 sacks, six. I mean, like, team had 8 sacks in one game. We got 6 on the season. That's terrible. It's just terrible, man. Like, I don't understand it, man. So they got to fix that. That's one of the things that, if you look at anything about this team this year, and if you want to complain about something, it has to be that. It has to be that. That in the run defense. It's another thing. Like, those two things is just, and they was better last year with Ryan Nielsen. Now you go look at Ryan Nielsen with the Jacksonville Jaguars. His defense ain't hitting on nothing down there. But with the Atlanta Falcons last season, it was better. It was a whole lot better. I don't know if you want to pin it on Raheem Morris, you want to pin it on Jimmy Lake, whatever the reason is, but this defense is not where it was last year, and that's what's going to stop these guys from being true contenders, because the defense. I mean, through 8 games, we got 6 sacks, man. And then, I don't think we got a sack in the last 3 games. So we really got 6 sacks in the first 5 games, right? So, we ain't had a sack in 3 games. That's terrible. It's terrible. Stats are for loser, Raheem, but come on, man. You got to know it's not good enough, and it's not going to sustain throughout the year if you can't do better. It's not going to get. It's not going to get better, man. It's not going to get better. It's even crazy to say 6 sacks through 8 games. I can't believe that. That's a professional football team with guys, and you go look at some of these guys' contract that they got, how much money they make, and they can't win one-on-one battles. I mean, come on, man. That's terrible. And I'm happy we're winning and things like that, but it's not going to sustain throughout the season. And they got to do something. I don't know. Jimmy mentioned it. I'm curious to see what kind of changes they made to see how they can get better, right? Maybe go back man to man and make the quarterback hold the ball longer or something like that. I don't know. I'm just spitting out ideas to try to help these guys because right now maybe the zone defense, they're playing off coverage and the quarterback is able to get the ball out of his hand fast, or that's what it is. They are play a lot of zone. They play most zone in like any team in the league. That could be it. The zone coverage, and they're playing. They come up and make the play, bend don't break defense. So it's hindering the pass rush. Maybe that's what it is. I have no idea, but 6 sacks is terrible. And if the Atlanta Falcons was 0-8, you could try to point at that and say why the Atlanta Falcons haven't won any games. But the crazy thing about it is the Atlanta Falcons are 5-3, and they got 6 sacks on the season. So can't explain it. I don't know what it is. You contribute. I contribute from a defensive standpoint, or players making plays at the right time to sustain to get these wins for this team. But I mean, tip your head off to guys like Jesse Bates, AJ have made some courageous plays. You get a play right now every now and then from Grady, still getting in the backfield doing his thing. It seems like Grady win his one-on-ones. If he get a one-on-one, it seems like Grady's probably going to win it. But a lot of times he don't get one-on-ones. He's get double teamed, right? I think David Amiyata get double teamed. I think Matt Judon get double teamed, right? But they don't get double teamed every play. So when they don't get double teamed, you got to take advantage of it and get home. And that's not what's happening. Someone said, do you think they will make a trade or not? They have an opportunity. It was mentioned. I forgot which insider mentioned it, but one of the insiders mentioned that they were looking, but it was like 4 other teams as well. So it comes down to how much the bidding is going to be. How much they're willing to pay. Right? Probably go to the highest bidder. That's probably how it's going to work. I think they was all looking at the same guy. I think Ladarius from the Cleveland Browns, one of the guys a lot of people was looking at. So we'll just have to see, man. I don't know if they're going to make a trade. The crazy part about it, they already made a trade, right? They traded for Matthew Judon to start the season. We kind of think he's part of the team, but that was the trade that we made already to try to fix our pass rush, and it hasn't came to fruition. So they might make a trade. He said, which former Falcon pass rusher would you bring back? John Abraham. and the only reason why I would bring back John Abraham, because he's the only one in the last 15 seasons where the Atlanta Falcons had a dominant pass rush, right? You can count Big Beasley. Big Beasley had one season. He led the league in sacks in one season with 16.5, right? But people forget he had like 6 sacks in one game against the Rams that year. So, he didn't like dominate all. He had like some big games that season. So, but yeah, if I could bring back any pass rusher, it probably would be John Abraham, because he's like the last great pass rusher we had. I mean, he had guys like Patrick Kearney that was really good as well. You can go back to Chuck Smith. So we're going way back now. Go back. See how going back here, almost 30 years now. I go back like to the 98 Falcons, like guys like Chuck Smith and things like that. But man, I don't know. It's like the Falcons. It's like the Cleveland Browns can't figure out their quarterback, right? The New York Jets can't figure out their quarterback. The Atlanta Falcons can't figure out their pass rush. It's like that's where it's like the pass rush dies in Atlanta. It's like the quarterback for other teams. Like some teams can't figure out their quarterback. Like the Jets ain't had a quarterback, since Joe Namath, right? Right? Not really. The Cleveland Browns, go look at their list of quarterbacks. They don't have, right? They thought they had one Deshaun. Nope. Right? So, I mean, in the Atlanta Falcons, is pass rusher. The Atlanta Falcons cannot fix their pass rush for nothing in the world, right? They had an opportunity. The whole Mike Smith, the whole Arthur Smith era, they picked offensive players. There's one year we thought it was going to go defense. Guess what, guys? They picked another offensive player. So I don't know. I don't know. And that's on Terry Fontenot, man. That's on him. So, but this is bad. It's no other way around. You can't sugarcoat it. And Raheem knows it. He said it. So it's not like he's hiding from it and making excuses. But they ain't getting it done. And that's just that's what it is, man. You said Abraham was a man. Yes, 100%. Kearney was a machine. Yep. Yeah, Patrick Kearney was good, man. Like I said, there's some guys you can throw out there, but I can tell you this: in the last 10 years, it's not one pass rush I bring back. So, and you know what really gets me, and I know you can't really, nobody really could like say, but you really didn't know that was going to happen. But we picked Takk McKinley at like number 27, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, they either get TJ Watt after that. We picked Takk McKinley, and the Pittsburgh Steelers was able to draft TJ Watt after Takk McKinley. God, think about the scouting department. Think about it, guys. Just think about that. We talking about a guy whose brother was already in the league, who's going to be a Hall of Famer, once his time comes up, because he's retired now. And now he's going to be a Hall of Famer and could potentially have better numbers than his brother. And we passed on him for Takk McKinley. And now a whole other team passed on him as well. I get it. But Atlanta Falcons cannot fix the pass rush. Other teams have great pass rushers. The Atlanta Falcons have never had one since John Abraham left. And we picked Takk McKinley. TJ Watt went to the Steelers. And I know it's a 3-4, 4-3. I don't care about all that. Look, man, you bring a pass rusher in, somebody that's dominant like a TJ Watt, get him. And hindsight 2020, you never know what's going to happen. They probably didn't even look at him. I get it, because the scheme, we had Dan Quinn, we was running a 4-3 scheme. He's more of a 3-4 outside linebacker, but he is dominant. And I'm just hating right now. I'm going to my soapbox about this Atlanta Falcons pass rush because it's terrible. And if we lose this weekend, this could be the reason why, because we can't get Dak on the ground, man. And he looked like freaking like Joe Montana out there, Tom Brady or somebody, Peyton Manning, throwing the ball all over the field because we can't get no pressure on him. So that's what I'm saying. Let's see what you got. He said, "Can our pass rush eventually get it done?" We're gonna find out, man. Especially if they don't make a move, by Tuesday. We definitely gonna have to find out and see if they're gonna get it done. Ricono was a short man that got blocked into the bleacher. Whatever, man. Whatever. Actually, so I used to play wingback. You guys remember wingback position? In high school, I played wingback and I played cornerback. So I was athletic. I was an athletic guy. I was little though. You're right. That's why I never considered playing in the college and things like that. And I tell you a story. I went to college and I was going to go be a walk-on in college. And I went out to the football field and I saw one of the offensive linemen. It was like 6'7", 260. And I was like, nah, I'm good. Then I knew that, football was for big dudes, man, big physical dudes and stuff like that. So I had to let it go, right? I wasn't built, thanks to my mom and dad, I wasn't built to be a professional football player. Would have loved to do it though, right? But my body I wasn't big enough to do all that. So, but I loved the game. I played the game. We actually won state my senior year in high school. I ain't gonna tell you what year that was, because then you know how old I am. But we actually won state. We had an All-American on our team who played in the league for 15 years. He played in the NFL for 15 years. He played tight end and he played defensive end. And his name was Takeo Spikes. So, yep, I played with Takeo Spikes. He was a senior with me in high school. We actually won the state championship that year. And we all know Keo was pretty good. He started with the Bengals, went to the Niners, went to the Eagles, went to the Chargers. Had a great had a great career. The strangest thing about Keo's football career, though, 15 seasons, he never played in the playoffs. Amazing, huh? He never went to a playoff game. 15 seasons in the league, and the teams he was on never made it to the playoffs. So this a little trivia question about Keo, which, you know, if you put his numbers up, you know, he had great numbers as an NFL player. So maybe one day he might get called to the Hall of Fame. And just like Dartmouth said, Spikes is a Hall of Fame. Yes, I agree, man. He really he played a lot of seasons. And if you go ask a guy like Jerome Bettis, who played against him a lot, he said he was just as good as Ray Lewis. So just a little nugget out there, guys, for you about that. But we're gonna see what happened this weekend. I just had to get on my soapbox about this freaking pass rush, man. It's no sugarcoating, all right. I can't get up here and tell you guys that they're figuring it out. They just, you know, they're not missing anybody. They're missing a rookie, Braylon Trice. They're missing Braylon Trice, but they went and got a all-pro veteran and Matthew Judon, who you thought was going to fix that, right? And it's still it's terrible. It's how Charles Barker says terrible. Like, you have to use that Auburn voice from Alabama. Terrible. That's how bad the Atlanta Falcons pass rush is. Just how it is, man. So there you go. So guys, that's it for today. Long talk. The recap. Atlanta Falcons game plan is the simplest game plan they're going to have all season. Is run the ball, play action, use the clock to keep Dak Prescott off the field, right? On the defensive side, don't let them get their running game going. They don't average 56 yards a game, so we're not going to let that happen. We're going to eliminate CeeDee Lamb from the game. That means 2 guys on him all game. If the other guys can beat you, let them beat you. That's what you need to do. If you do that, the Atlanta Falcons will come away with a win. Just that simple, right? But if they don't, they underestimate this Dallas Cowboys team. They let Dak Prescott get comfortable. He started hitting CeeDee Lamb. They let their running game to come alive for the first time this season. The Atlanta Falcons will take a loss at home. It's just that simple. It's no other way around it. I know you guys agree with me. So see you guys at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium for those who are going on Sunday. We're going to be there with a whole bunch of how Stephen they say disgusting, nauseated Cowboy fans who think they can do it. You know what? This probably quiet they've been all season long, and they've been quiet this season because they know their team's not where it needs to be. And all these injuries ain't helping neither. So, but it's going to be an exciting game. Hopefully, the Atlanta Falcons get back on a winning record at home before we go back to hate week, right? Because we know we go next weekend, right? So we got to make sure we get this win because we got to go to the nasty city in New Orleans and play those guys. So let's hope we can get it done. Let's hope to get it done. And just like Dermot said, the Cowboys will be desperate 100%. Dak already said it's a must win. So it's going to be like their Super Bowl, man. They're going to come out like their playoff game. They trying to win this game. So we got to be ready for that and expect that kind of intensity from these guys. And they're not just going to let you run the ball. You got to force your will. That's just the bottom line. So, guys, that's all I have today. Thank you guys for tuning in. Good conversation. Eddie, for you, I'll be talking to you after the game. Either way, if you win, I have to congratulate you. If you lose, like I told you so. Right? So, there you have it. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.